What's going on, folks? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. It's fall bass fishing time, man. It is the best time of fall. We're going to tell you why. Colder's better. Lake Fork fall bass fishing. Why is colder better? This is the time of year to catch the biggest bass of your life. Wouldn't wanna hold her. Hey, can we normalize semi-old, very fat white guys that can't dance dancing? Can that be cool? Yeah. I got two cameras. I got Facebook. We're live on Facebook over here. We're live on YouTube over here. If you know who this is singing, comment that below. I bet we might not get a single one of y'all that knows who's singing this song. But cheers, y'all. It's been a minute. We'll talk about that too. Welcome back. You know the intro song is good when it completely derails what you were thinking and talking about for your live stream. This is a jam right here. Come on. Woo. Even when it's over. Hell yeah, I'll quit torturing y'all with my singing, but that is some fantastic intro music by the one and only T.G. Shepherd. And I know we probably didn't get any comments until I just said that, so I'm not counting it if you did. I ain't worried about it. Well, what's going on, man? Appreciate you guys letting me jam out a little bit. I do love me some tunes every once in a while, especially when I'm drinking that old spicy water. You know what I'm saying? Like we got a little spicy water. Cheers. Get that brown in your cup. Hold it up. Drink it down. I apologize for shutting the channel down for a couple weeks yet again after we shut down for most of the year this year. Listen, all I can tell you guys, we're going to talk about Lake Fork fall bass fishing, talk about the cold weather and how getting colder is the best thing that can happen to us. I'm going to teach you guys a little bit tonight on how to use this cold weather to your advantage. You really can if you know some things. You know, if you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night and you know some things, then you can use this cold weather to your advantage. So I'm going to explain all that tonight. But, man, before we get into that, let me just explain a little bit like life. Sometimes life be swinging, but look, like I be getting hit, like, but then I'm still here. I'm still here, which is what matters most. I'm getting back up. Okay, I'm getting back up slowly but surely. Kind of had the channel going. We're mixing in the golf and doing everything, and then, man, had some more stuff. I knew there was going to be a little like 10-day period where I couldn't post anything. I had some family medical stuff that took me out of state for surgery for a family member to go see a specialist. So that was, nothing you guys need to know about. Everything's good. But it took me out of pocket for 10 days out of state, and I didn't really have access to work. I was spending most of my time in the hospital, all that. So, and then get back, think I'm about to get settled back in, kind of getting ready to wind the content up this week. And over the weekend, had another family medical emergency. So we have just had a really, really rough time of it. Really rough time of it here lately as far as just personal life stuff goes. And it seems like that's been my story for the last 5 years. And I made content through most of it. And finally got, just all the mental health aspects of it wore me down. I just got fatigued on it, doing the same content over and over again for fishing and then dealing with all the stuff I was dealing with and try to have a little rest and recover time this year and kind of get my feet underneath me. Was getting ready to take back off this fall, and then bam, we're getting a whole bunch of more stuff. So all I can say is we must be fixing to do some great things around here. We must be fixing to do content the right way. We must be fixing to get some kind of blessings from the Lord because, man, there's a lot of stuff trying to get in our way right now. Like a lot of stuff. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, please go read the most popular #1 selling book of all time. It'll help you know. And we would really, I would love it for you if you would go read that book. That'd be good for all of us. So, that's what's going on, man. Just a lot of curveballs, a lot of left hooks coming at me. In the personal life, and not just me, my family, like my whole family. They ain't like I'm not like the victim here or anything. Like my whole family's been dealt with some hardships here lately. So we're getting through it though. We're getting through it as always. Now this cold front gets me really excited. There's always one of these. We've had some cooler weather, got the water temps down into the 70s with that cooler weather. And then once you get down to the 70s, you get that next, sure enough, get close to freezing cold front. Now, why would I be so excited about that? we all know you get a little bit later in the fall, man, you get on the backside of one of them cold fronts, it's like the worst day of fishing of the year. Yeah, that morning when it's 28 degrees, that's going to suck. And that next morning, it's probably going to suck then too. Like those 2, maybe sometimes 3 post-frontal days are going to suck. But what it does to the fish makes everything better, man. It just makes things a lot more predictable. It makes their behavior a lot more predictable. And if you want to get your notepad out, this is the time to do it. We're fixing to go. I've kind of gotten a reputation over the years for being good in the cold weather and being good over the wintertime. I fish more. A lot of guys do duck hunting. A lot of guys go to South Texas or West Texas over the years. Traditionally, fishing guys do that. Some fishing guys just take the days off, the day off, or the winter off altogether. Man, I've fished hard in the winter every year that I've been out here, and I've had a lot of success doing it. So we're fixing to go into some of the ways that I've had success and the things that have been like work best for me. So if you guys want to get your notebook out, now's the time. Okay. Cold weather makes these fish much more predictable. When you're in like that early fall, mid-fall, like September, late September, and all through October, yes, the fish are active. Yes, they're chasing shad. You can see them running them on the surface when they get active, and you can catch a bunch in a hurry. But you all know they show up anywhere and sometimes everywhere and sometimes nowhere. Like you just don't connect with them. They're random. They're random. And so what happens when it gets a little colder is when that water temp gets down into those 60s, those fish start, condensing on those flats instead of being spread out across the flats or being able to roam from one side to the other to the flat. The bait and the bass both start getting a little bit closer to those creek channels, a little bit closer to those low spots, those depth changes. Some lakes it may not be a creek channel. Some lakes it may just be a ledge running down the main bank. They've been running up on a flat on the main lake shoreline, and now they ease out by that ledge. They're going to stay a lot more centrally located to your structure, which doesn't change. You're in a time of year when your grass lines, your grass mats, all that's going to change week to week, if not day to day. That bottom contour line that gives them access to a little bit deeper water as it gets colder, that don't change. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. And this is really, we've gotten to that time of year now where really you have the two-way go. Like it's kind of been doing this for a while, but the shallow fish have still been kind of scattered. But now you're going to have your true two-way go of the fall. You're going to have your shallow fish that are back there that are going to, most of them are going to stay back there a long time into the fall. Okay? But they're going to be around what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But you're going to have shallow fish that you can go throw a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, shallow crankbaits, just all the typical fall stuff. You can throw a big swim bait up there too. There's big swim bait eaters, like big gizzard shad eaters. We're in that time of the fall where we can catch them on those bigger baits. So all your shad replicating stuff, your power fishing stuff up shallow works really good right now if you get in the right areas and the right stretches. But there's also a second bite, a second pattern that's really established right now, and it's kind of going down on Lake Fork. It does every year in the fall, and that is the offshore fall bite, which is somewhere between 15 and 20 feet on extended flat spots. And I think I'm going to try to put out a video tomorrow night. It's going to take some clips from some older videos that I did years and years ago. But talking about this pattern, because this pattern, some years it's better than others. But I will tell you right now that this year, the deep offshore fall pattern is really good. Like they're there. I mean, when I say really good, this isn't a numbers pattern. This is a giant bass pattern. And it's not a lot of bites. You don't always catch them when you go out there because you're targeting really big ones. But they are there every day right now. And that's the best I've seen it in a fall in a while, where you got the bait they're pursuing and the bass are all there every single day right now. So I'm thinking about doing a video tomorrow about fall offshore structure fishing, really going into detail about that. It won't be live. It'll just be a posted video, but we'll probably do that. So get a little dry there. Cheers, y'all. Let's get it. So let's talk about the shallow bite and how these fish are going to position themselves. So you've heard this before, probably. You've probably heard it from me if you watch this channel long enough. You're going to want to get near the depth changes, like I just alluded to a little while ago. So if you've had fish or you've been fishing or you're seeing a lot of bait presence, a lot of activity back in a flat, shallow area, the back part of a creek somewhere, and that's what you're going to want to look at is the backs of creeks. We're not talking about main lake pockets. We're not talking about something they can just pull in and pull out of real easy. You want something that's, a quarter mile from 30 foot of water, like a half mile from 30 foot of water. Like you want something that's on back there in the back of a creek. That's what you're primarily looking for on this pattern. The traditional back of the creek fall deal. There's going to be fish stay back there. But what they're going to do, they're going to suck in, and they're going to get around creek channels and secondary drains. Right now, the waters are just getting into the 60s. It's probably going to warm back up a little bit here next couple of days. So maybe some of those secondary drains that are just, like you got a flat that's like 3 foot deep, but you got a drain that's 5 foot deep. Like that little subtle difference can be the difference. So right now we still got a little bit of ground to cover because they can go from that, or they can be on, the flat that's 6 foot or 5 foot deep and then want the channel that's 10 or 12 foot deep. They can kind of be on any of those right now. So you got to be on the move, on the lookout, up and down the creek channels and drains, searching them out. But the good thing is you don't have to search the entire expansive flat. You stay within a cast or two length of that drain and channel. That's where those fish are going to be located. And the next time we get a cold front, they're going to get tighter and a little deeper, tighter and a little deeper, a little further out. They're just going to suck into that channel and keep easing back out down that creek a little bit. It's kind of how that works. And that's why I say the colder, the better. The colder it gets, the more predictable their location becomes, the more predictable their behavior becomes. They're going to get more grouped up the colder it gets as we keep going towards winter right now. So this is the deal. Like, this is the juice, man. Like, right now you're within 2 casts of the drains and channels. Next time we get a cold front, tighten it up a little more. And maybe wherever you've been catching fish, back out a little bit. But you can find them. You just search. Wherever there's been a lot of fish, you just search in those low spots and around those low spots. And it's like, lead cinch pipe guarantee you're going to find these fish. You're going to find them. Now, how good they're going to bite that day is give or take in the fall. We all know that. May have to do some different things to make them react. I really love shallow cranking when I don't have too much grass. Like, if I can get away with throwing a shallow crankbait with a bill that'll bounce off a stump real hard, love to do that this time of year. Now that we've gotten to kind of the 60 degrees water. Lipless crankbaits are great if we got a lot of grass. Chatterbaits can be good, but really, I prefer the hard baits when we start getting this cold. Another thing is if you find, like on a cold front situation or after a cold front, those fish, if you start seeing some fish on live scope, or maybe you get a bite really close to the channel or even in the creek channel, jerk baits. Pick up a jerk bait and throw it in the creek channel. You'll be surprised sometimes how good that can do you. So that's kind of how you go about the shallow water deal. Let me know if you have any questions on the shallow water deal. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Deep water we'll kind of go over briefly, and then we'll start answering questions. So now's the time to start popping some questions in. I'll read them here in a little while, and we will answer all your questions. On the deep water stuff, I really like pond dams and road beds. It can be on any kind of structure, but there always tends to be, fish can show up anywhere between 15 and 20 foot out there. Patrick Walters proved that on the live scope in 2020 on Lake Fork. Live scope has proven that time and time again that these fish can be anywhere in their depth range out offshore. They really can. The type of structure they tend to stack up on the best is the road beds and pond dams. It's those really long, narrow, flat spots, that a pond dam or a road bed would create. Those are kind of the areas that I like to focus on. Just if for nothing else, hell, I might be wrong, but at least it narrows the damn thing down for me. At least I ain't spending my whole life out there searching every piece of 15 to 20 foot of water, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking is you get a lot of these, and what happens is you get multi-species out there. You get yellow bass or barfish, you get white bass, you get like little baby crappies and decent crappies, and you get little baby catfish out there, and you get bluegill out there. Everything that swims in a lake kind of congregates and mixes up in the fall. That's one thing about the fall. Stuff mixes together. On your shallow fish as well, just because you catch a couple little ones up shallow, don't be discouraged. You might catch a big one on the next cast. Like one that would eat it. Like you could catch a 10-incher and a 10-pounder right next to each other on the same cast. They mix up by size and species in the fall more than any other time of year. So don't worry about that. But the offshore stuff, you get all these, that's where you really get these species mixing in. And what you'll have is these you'll have smaller bass. Like you'll have baby, almost like tiny little born in the spring bass, all the way up to, like 3-pound bass that are actually out there, 3 or 4 pounders. They're running with the white bass. It's like they're kind of eating the shad and all that with the white bass and the crappie and all that. They're kind of ganging up with them. But what you will also have, this is the juice, this is the special part. You'll also always, when you get all like a conglomerate and you get just a ton of life on these pond dams and road beds, you will always have a little wolf pack of giants. And I mean giants. Like Can't count how high they could be. I mean, it could be the biggest fish in the lake. I mean, it's the biggest ones out there. They're eating bar fish that are the size of my hand, and a little bit smaller. And then they're eating crappie that are the size of my hand. I mean, they're the biggest fish in the lake. They really are the biggest bass in the lake that are out there. And that's why, man, we haven't caught very many fish offshore. Man, we've caught like some overs. We've caught some really big fish offshore here lately, even though we're only catching a few here and there, doing it. And that's kind of how that deal goes. You don't catch a lot of fish around those bar fish and all that. But when you do catch one, it's usually a really big one, unless you're catching the ones that are running with the schools of whites or whatever they're doing. I like to throw big worms. Traditionally, I used to always try to throw like flutter spoons and deep diving crankbaits and try to imitate big bait that way. Man, it's just you cannot imitate those yellow bass and those baby crappie good enough to get them to bite baits that look like that. Like, there's nothing you're going to imitate them with that's going to be good enough to make them trigger on that with any kind of consistency. So I've kind of gone to where I just resort to a really big profile jig and like a 10 or 12 inch worm. I'll throw a big perm, the big straight tail worm on a big shaky head. I'll throw a big ribbon tail worm on a Texas rig. I just throw a big profile worm and a big profile jig, and I drag it, and I tell all my people, you got to fish it so slow. You just want to keep it in their face. Keep it around them. You just throw it out there hoping you get around one and keep it right in their face as long as you can in hopes that one of them big old giants will bite. It's an old school way of fishing. We're out there begging for a bite. But, man, when it pays off real big. If you want to, like in a way to catch, like all the species, and the smaller bass that do run with the yellows and whites and the crappies, you want to catch some of those and the bass that are running with them, man, jig and spoons do it. Alabama rigs will catch you some numbers of fish that are running with the white bass schools. They'll catch all the white bass. Y'all know that. If it's a decent-sized white bass, they're going to eat an Alabama rig every time they see it. Like, they can't resist it. It's like live bait to them. It's ridiculous. So Alabama rigs can catch you a lot of fish this time of year too. And you will catch a real big one on an Alabama rig at times. And even the jig and spoon, the little bitty 1 ounce jig and spoons, which are just little slab spoons. Man, I've caught some really big fish on those just every great once in a while over the years. So you never know. Like, it's kind of fun to get out there. I'll be honest with you. So when I get customers out there, I always have a jig and spoon tied on. And I'll have my customers throwing the big worm and the big jig. And I will literally be on the front of the boat yanking on yellow bass. And in my opinion, what that does, hell, if nothing else, I'm getting the bait source fired up. Like, I'm getting the life around that structure juiced up and moving. Like, I'm getting some feeding activity going. Man, that ain't going to do nothing but help us. Like, I'm basically baiting the hole underneath my boat with live bait by firing them up like that. It's kind of how I see it. So I'll do that. And sure enough, every once in a while, I slip up and catch a big one. We pulled up on a swat the other day, and I caught like a 3 or 4 pound bass right away, and then I caught 2 other little bass right away, and I'm like, damn, where the yellow bass at? I look like an idiot. I got this dude throwing a 18-inch worm or whatever out the back of the boat, and I'm on the front just daubing it up and down, watching on live scope, and I caught 3 bass in a row. I'm like, man, that's, by the way, only time that's ever happened. I've never seen that happen before. Usually you catch more of the yellows and whites, especially right off the bat. But I did catch 3 green ones right in a row that day, which was kind of funny. And then we proceeded to catch a bunch of yellows and whites, and his wife caught some, and that was cool. But that was last week or week before when that happened, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that was just a kind of a one-off deal right there. That didn't usually happen that way. But I do like to fire up the yellows with a jig and spin. So if you just want to get some bites and have a good time, and you will catch some green ones mixed in, man, absolutely throw that jig and spoon down there, and you'll catch everything that swims down there. And Alabama rigs. Now, you won't catch the yellow bass very often on the Alabama rigs. You won't catch the baby crappie on the Alabama rigs very often, but you will catch the whites, and you will catch all the green bass that are like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds and up. You'll catch all the largemouth that are a little bit big at all and up with the Alabama rig. If you're throwing the big worm and the big jig, you're specifically targeting the one bass that you're there to catch. There's usually, if you really graph a spot extensively, what you'll find is there's usually about 3 to 5 of them hanging around those yellow bass. Sometimes it's more, sometimes less, but usually there's around 3 to 5 of those really big mammoth-sized arcs and dots hanging around those schools, and usually they're on the outside. Now, I will tell you, the only time you need to immediately stop graphing, get off the spot, and throw up on top is if you see 3 or 5 or even more of the big arcs on top of the structure, and all the yellows and whites are on the side out off the structure, like all the little fish are out off the side. you need to stop what the hell you're doing and get your ass on that trolling motor and throw something up on top of that hump. Because what that is those big fish have already been eating up there and they have run all the yellow bass off the structure to the sides. And they're actively hunting right now. You need to get something in there right now. So that's kind of a little top secret guide shit right there. Don't tell nobody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cheers, y'all. Cheers, cheers, cheers. All right, there we go. There's a 20-minute rant about fall bass fishing. Let's answer some questions if we got some. Facebook's always so weird because it tells me every time somebody comes and goes, love old school Carolina rigs. Yeah, Carolina rigs are great. So Ron Kasner. Dude, Ron Kasner used to guide here. I think he was from Arizona. Ron, I'm assuming that's you. Pretty sure you, like, before I was guiding, you came from Arizona, threw some big swim baits out there, and then you came over here for a while. Man, I hope you're doing good. If that's you, I hope you're doing good. I don't know where life took you. If you're still here, I apologize. Let me know and I'll plug your guide business. But, man, I just hadn't seen or heard from anything about Ron Kasner in quite a while now. So that's pretty cool that he's in the chat tonight. That's awesome. Yeah, Carolina rigs are great. I would say for this particular pattern, if I was going to throw a Carolina rig, I would go bigger fluke, right? Like the big mag fluke on a Carolina rig and throw a little bigger hook because you got to have a little bigger hook. The one thing about Carolina rig, though, you want to go as light of a hook as you can use on that plastic. Like light wire, the whole deal. The lighter the hook is, the better action the bait's going to have behind the weight. The more, buoyancy the bait's going to have, and more it's going to kick around and act right and swim and do dart and do all the tricks. So if you're throwing a 7-inch fluke, don't get carried away with the size of hook you use. But I would use the bigger fluke if I was going to Carolina rig anything around those yellow bass right now. If you ask a question on YouTube, I'm coming over there real shortly. Trying to get caught up on this. Does bait color make a big difference in cold water? It's like most things in bass fishing. And in case we didn't hear us repeat the question, Bruce, man, that writing's little and I'm getting old. Bruce Waddell asked, does color make a difference in cold water? It's like everything else in bass fishing, dude. Like there's a lot of variables to it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of variables to it. So you got to consider all the variables. I mean, the temperature being cold, maybe somewhat, but it's more about the clarity, the bait source they're feeding on, all the normal factors. I mean, color always makes a difference. I mean, granted, they're bass and you can catch them on different colors on most days, but color always makes some difference. Now, what I will say to you is in Texas, water tends to be dirtier in the winter, right? So like black and blue, factor. On my shad baits, the dirtier the water gets, the more I go to solid whites, like white. I tend to go that way. Just a lot of factors to answer that. Fish do get a little paler, like offshore fish get a little paler, offshore shad get a little paler in color when it gets colder, but it's not a huge difference. Not a huge difference. Man, just stick with the basics, dude. Don't get too caught up. Look, if you're throwing a green and brown and the water's clear in the winter, you're good. If the water's anything but clear and you're throwing black and blue, you're good. If you're trying to imitate a shad and you're throwing anything from white to gray to silver, you're good. Like, that's fine. Don't overthink it too much on the color. All right. We only had a couple questions right off the bat on Facebook. I'm sure there's more now. But we're going to go give YouTube a turn, see what we got questions on here. Douglas Subs. What's up, big dog? Appreciate you being here. What about A-rigs? Yeah, I mean, I mentioned A-rigs. I think A-rigs are great this time of year on all that stuff. I think all that offshore structure A-rigs are great. Also, man, if you're a live scoper and you want to go like scope them, like they're not legal to use on the tournaments, some of the bigger tournaments, so you don't, like people don't talk about how good an A-rig is with live scope. Like, this is the best live scope bait there is. Like, for sure, in the winter time, and we're getting close to it now, like from now until March, the best live scope bait on earth is an A-rig. They just aren't legal to use in a lot of tournaments. So, happy Veterans Day. That's right, it is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. And to all my fellow Marines out there. Yesterday was a big one. Yesterday was the Marine Corps' 250th birthday, and America did not get destroyed overnight, which is, praise Jesus, half a miracle. 250 is a big one. I cannot imagine. I mean, I think maybe things are a little more subdued now because everything's on video now. So maybe guys act a little different. But man, some of the guys that I used to hang out and run the roads with, and when I was in the Marine Corps, I cannot imagine what a 250th Marine Corps birthday ball would have been back in them days. It would have been a little loose. We'll just say that and leave it at that. They'd probably move on. Andy Alphabet, big swim bait guy. He likes those swim baits a lot. He said he got him one on Little Holly. Yeah, Little Holly is a little hollow belly swim bait from Smash Tech. Great bait. Fantastic bait to throw right now. And it's Big Holly. You can throw Big Holly right now too and all the other big baits. It's getting that time. DFW Fishing says, been smoking them on the Hog Farmer umbrella rig with an X-Zone Swammer swim. I don't know what that swim bait is, but some X-Zone swim bait. And Hog Farmer makes a fantastic umbrella rig. I've always used, for a long time, I've used the one from Smash Tech. My buddy Heath makes them for me, and I get them out of his garage. So it's convenient. But before that, before he was making them, I used to buy the Hog Farmers. They're really good A-rigs. What's the A-rig setup? Weight of heads and plastic. If you're going to fish pond dams and road beds that don't have a lot of timber, like they don't really have timber on them, you're fishing pretty much open water in 15 to 20 foot. I'm going 1/8 ounce jig heads. Top hook jig heads with a screw lock, like the 6 cents. Little 1/8 ounce swim bait jig heads that have a little screw lock on them. Those are the best ones. They'll keep the baits on there the longest. They got, like those 1/8 ounce 6 cents ones have a really good hook for a light head like that. So that's what I'm using in that situation. Now, if I'm going scoping with it, I'm rigging them up on weedless keel-weighted baits, as small a hook as I can get away with, on the little 3-inch swim baits that I'm going to put on there. So probably like a 3-aught, or maybe if they got, I might use a 1-aught, probably a 3-aught belly-weighted swim bait hook, and maybe even shave down some of the lead to make them a little lighter. But I'm going to go weedless swim bait hooks if I'm scoping on fork. That way I can throw that bait up around timber and stuff and not hang it up as bad. So that would be a little lighter bait. That would be have a little more lift to it, which would help me when I'm scoping. I can kind of hover it and shake it and hover it over them a little bit. And I always throw an 8-blade Alabama rig. Always throw an 8-blade Alabama rig. Oh, Bob Shannon in the chat on Facebook over here said, thanks for putting him on some fish this weekend. Only caught little ones, but they were in packs, aggressive and fun. There you go. Yeah, so Bob he's a friend of mine now. He started like a lot of guys do, started as a customer, now he's a friend. But man, Bob fishing with me every year, 2 or 3 times a year, usually sometimes more. But man, Bob was actually coming out to look at a house. He's thinking about buying a house on Fork, and he kind of showed me where the house was going to be. And I said, hey, if you're going to be putting the boat in, go X, Y, and Z over here. There'll be some fish around. So look, here's the deal. When you book a trip at your Lake Fork Guide, not only do you get to go fishing with me for the day and we catch what we catch then, like I put you on fish forever. It's just what I do. I try to anyway. I don't always. It fails. And Bob's had some bad trips. He's had some really good trips. He's had some bad catching trips with me. It's just part of the deal. It's the way this game goes, unfortunately. But it's also kind of fortunate because it makes it interesting. Keeps us all in love with it long term. You know what I mean? Speaking of, I love this time of year. If y'all can tell by the speech I gave earlier, if you guys want to get out, we haven't done near as much video marketing and all the stuff that we've done in the past. We have more openings than we usually do. And December is like the slowest month of the year, bookings-wise anyway. And November's not all that booked up. If you guys want to go fish, I got openings right now. I mean, if y'all want to get out here, I can get you out in the next couple weeks if you want to go. A little tied up around that week of Thanksgiving. But other than that, man, I can get you guys out. Holler at me. We'd be happy to take you. Do I do good at night this time of year, or do I even try? I don't fish at night this time of year. Man, I know like Whit. I call Whit. I joke around with Whit when I see him. Whit Smith. He's a guy on Lake Fork. He's fantastic. Fantastic guy. Fantastic fisherman. Recommend Whit with everything I got. Couldn't recommend Whit enough. Whit, I call him the Prince of Darkness because he's the night king, man. Like he catches them in the cold at night. He does. He catches them all year at night, off and on. And he goes on some day trips too, but he can catch them at night. So, man, Whit Smith will be the guy to talk to about that. I don't know. I don't night fish. I've got a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, and then now I got an 18-month-old. And I know. I hear all y'all's hamster wheels turning. Just shut them down. Don't worry. That's my business, not yours. Don't worry about it. But so for a while now, I've had obligations in the evenings, you might say, at the house. So I don't I don't night fish. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I've night fished since I started guiding. It's very, very, very little. All right. Anybody got any more questions? Y'all keep asking the questions. I'll keep on answering. Facebook, I'm sorry I've been neglecting you. Or YouTube, sorry I've been neglecting you. I've been getting more questions on Facebook, so I've been you just been seeing the side of my hat over here on YouTube. Sorry about that, boys. Sorry about that, fellas. Tracy Ezernak. What a name, Ezernak. I think I took an Ezernak on a guide trip a while back. Let me know if that was you. It's been a while ago, though. Pretty sure. Y'all want to know a dirty Lake Fork guide secret? Y'all know a dirty Lake Fork guide secret that I don't know. A bunch of them do. I don't know how many. I don't know what the percentage is. But a lot of them do do this. I'll tell you a little dirty guide secret. I just got a question. Let me ask this question first. How far away are you from picking up the black and blue jig? So I wait till the water gets in the 50s. Once the water establishes into the 50s, man, that's jig time. Like that's next, right? Like another cold front or two, that's where we'll be. And that usually kind of happens around Thanksgiving, so we're right on track. Like this deal will go till about Thanksgiving, maybe the weekend after, and then it'll be jig time, Main Lake jerkbait, Main Lake Alabama rig. Like that'll be the whole winter pattern. Then we'll get to January, and you'll start thinking about that rattle trap and that chatterbait in some grass especially if you get a warming trend. So, Have you fished Monticello anymore? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I stay sneaking out to Monticello every once in a while. It's special. I love it. I love Lake Monticello. It's cheat code now. It's like cheating when you go out there because nobody else goes. Oh, Tracy Ezernak. So it wasn't you that I took on a guide trip. I think it's like a Joe Ezernak or something like that. He's from Toledo Bend. Man, wish they went slot fish. I wouldn't wish nothing different about Toledo Bend. Toledo Bend's fantastic. I mean, I hear you. We do have a little bit more like average size, bigger ones than y'all, but man, Toledo's pretty good in its own right for sure. Lake Fork is the hardest lake I have ever fished. I felt like it is so overpressured. It is just tough. Nailed it. Yes, it is. Like Lake Fork bass are harder to catch than anywhere else you go. For the population that lives in Lake Fork, oh my God, they're hard to catch. Like it's ridiculous. Yes, Lake Fork bass are harder to catch than anywhere else. I personally go. Toledo Bend, perfect example. I go to Toledo Bend catch fish, no problem. Like, they may not be the best fish. They may not be the biggest. I may have to run to a different part of the lake. I may not be able to fish in the area where the biggest ones live, but I can go catch fish. If I get desperate, I can get bites on Toledo Bend. There are days when no matter, I've been guiding on this lake for starting 2015, full-time starting in 2017. So I've been guiding here, been living here since 2009. I've been fishing this lake for 17 years straight, been living here fishing here. Guiding for 11 of it. There are days when I cannot buy a bite, no matter what I do. People are like, you think we ought to go do this? Nope. If I thought we should do that, we'd be doing it. But like, man, like you just can't get a bite sometimes on Lake Fork. It is the toughest lake. It is very tough. What weight did you say on the kill weighted hooks for the A-rig? I got to rig me one of those up for the fork timber. Okay, so what we do on an A-rig, if we're going scoping with it or just kind of exploring it, you know, if I'm fishing it in what I know is open water, I use open hook jig heads. If I'm not, I rig the Swim-Mates weedless. Thought maybe I would have one laying here. I don't. I rigged the Swim-Mates weedless on belly weighted hooks, and I'm using 3.5-inch swim baits on my A-rig, no more than that, about 3-inch swim baits. So I'm going to go 3/0 hooks, and I'm going to get the one that has the lightest weight I can, like whatever looks they don't even have a weight on the package. You know that, right? Like there is no weight on these keel weighted hooks. Most of them, it just says 3/0, and the weight that comes on is weight that comes on. Here's what I know: if it feels too heavy, you can just literally take a file or a hook sharpener and just like shave off some of the lead on that belly weighted hook on the belly weight, and it'll get lighter. Just do a little bit of that on each hook; it'll be fine. So don't get all bent out of shape about it. Is it a 1/16 of an ounce? Is it a 3/16? Is it a 3/8? Don't worry about it. Buy the 3/0. If the swim baits you have will fit on a 1/0, buy the 1/0. And just if it's sinking too fast for you, you want it to have a little more hover, a little more float, shave some of those lead weights down on the belly. That's how I do it. Dennis Morgan said, couldn't find you lately. Glad you're on tonight. Give us a lake report for this few weeks. Hey, so, I've gone in depth on everything, Dennis, and I appreciate you finding me tonight. That would take me a while to go back in because I went in detail. So it'd take me a while to go back through all that again if I did that. So we're not going to do that. But you can watch this after we're done. It'll be posted here, and you can come back and check out the beginning of it where I did talk about all the fishing we're doing and how we're doing it and all the goods and details. Let me see here. I know I missed some things. I seen Facebook popping off while I was running my sock over here. We all wish we could get on Monticello. I think we can, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, everybody. So I get on Monticello the same way everybody else can. I have a plastic boat. I have a trolling motor. I launch it off the side of the bridge. It's a public lake. The bridge is public. All the land around it is private. You can't, if you set foot on the dirt, like if you have to boo-boo on Lake Monticello, you better hang over the side of your kayak or your plastic boat. Because if you get on the bank, you are trespassing. And they do have people that kind of watch it. So, like, you can't really get away with nothing out there. So, make sure you stay on the bridge apron when you launch. Launch your kayak, launch your float tube, launch your plastic pelican like I got, or not a pelican, whatever it's called. I can't remember. Anyway, I got one of those jobs. And I drag it down and up the side of the bridge apron. That's how I launch there. So it is open to the public still. You just don't have a boat ramp to use. You got to launch off the side of the bridge. Ron Kazner, hey, so Billy really gives good, honest info. Way to help out the folks can't afford to get. Hey, like I said, that means a lot coming from old Ron now, because I know Ron, like I said, Ron was a guide on the West Coast. He's a big swim bait guy over there in, like, Southern California and Arizona, places like that. Threw a lot of big swim baits. I remember seeing about him, reading about him when I was just a fishing fan, like everybody that doesn't do it for a living. Many of you viewers, I was just like y'all. That's why I do this the way I do, because I was you guys. Like I was reading up on guys like Ron Kastner, trying to listen to what he had to say on a what is it, EBS or whatever report it was back in the day, and then listening to the radio shows and watching every fishing show I could. So a guy like Ron saying that we give good information, man, that means a lot. And Ron guided here for a while too, before I think he moved back west or wherever. I'm not sure where he is nowadays, but man, I appreciate Ron tuning in tonight, and definitely appreciate those words. It means a lot coming from him, because I was a guy that used to read Ron's fishing report. I mean, I really was, and him, and I read Eddie Garrett's, and I read, I read Richie's, and I read everybody's. I read every piece of information I could get on Lake Fork or any lake around here, just like a lot of you guys, I'm sure, do now. And so that's why I've always tried to give the best information out there, because I know what it's like. I remember well what it's like. I just want a starting point, man. Like, you guys are out there all week. I don't want you whole. I don't need your secret bait. Just give me something to start with, and I'll figure it out from there. Like, I know y'all got the heads up on it. Hook a brother up. Well, I've been giving y'all the heads up for 10 years now, and I hope it helps. When is the best time to catch them on traps? I mean, kind of now. Like now is when it starts. You can catch them real good on a trap right now in the right, like grass has got to kind of be laid out right for it. But yeah, catch them on a trap right now for sure. Catch them in December, catch them January, February, even some early March. I think the month that shines the best year after year for traps is January. I think January is the best month year after year to throw traps. Now, some years they'll bite them better in November than they do in January. But year after year, January is the best month to throw a trap. But you should have one on and be experimenting with it every year from like when the water gets in the 60s till the water leaves the 60s. So that's basically November to early March, usually. All right. Good questions there. If y'all got some more, drop them in. Oh, I told you I was going to tell y'all a little dirty. I'm going to air a little Lake Fork dirty laundry. I think we may have talked about this once before, maybe. I don't remember if I've ever put this on camera or not, but this is funny. Like, it's funny, and I'm not going to name names, so it's harmless. The only person I'm going to tell on is myself, and it's years ago, so I don't really give a shit. There's probably some folks that watch this channel still that they hear me talk about yellow bass or barfish in the fall, and they're going, I know what you're really doing. Because there is something that is very much illegal to do that lots of Lake Fork guides do every year. Still, right now. They're doing it right now. Like, there'll be some out there doing that tomorrow. There will be. And it's very much illegal. Had a piece of ice in the way. We need a good drink for this. We need a good sip. Need some of that spicy water to get down the hatch for this story. So there's a thing called drowning barfish that a lot of guides do. And it was taught to me by a Lake Fork guide. So that's how I know Lake Fork guides do it. And then once you kind of know what to look for, like, you know, like you see dudes doing it, you know. And hey, people are real secretive about this now. Like, they'll try to drop the rods when somebody's around so you can't see what they're doing. Like, they get real secretive about it. And I don't blame them because you could lose your license over this. So, basically, I was talking about using a jigging spoon. You'll catch everything that swims out there on them offshore structures. And you got a few of those big ones swimming around those barfish usually. Well, if you catch one of those barfish that's about, that long, one of those 5 or 6 inch, 7 inch barfish, you take that jigging spoon that weighs an ounce, you take one of those prongs like treble hook and you just nose hook him through his lips, and you just free spool him down to the bottom, and you turn it one crank, let him sit about 6 inches or a foot off the bottom, and you sit there and hold your rod. You know what's coming, right? Like, a really big bass is coming. A really big bass is coming. So it's something you can do. Like, people, and guys do this with their, and I was shown this by another fishing guide. I 100,000% used to do this with customers. I will tell you right now. Now, I have not done it in years and years, many, many years. But I used to do this with customers every year in the fall. You sit there, drop that barfish back down there, crank him up off the bottom, a crank or two, let him sit there, and you just hold him. And here after a while, he's going to start going, swimming like crazy, and then a big old bite's going to come in, thump, you're going to feel a big thump, your line's going to jump, sometimes they'll hit it and come up, and you'll get a bunch of slack. Let them swim. Just let them swim. Let them get that thing all the way in there for a couple, 15, 20 seconds, whatever, and then you just reel into them and catch them. And sometimes you don't get them hooked very good, and sometimes you do, but you know what, man? You got a chance at catching one like real big doing that. In fact, one of the more famous, really, really big fish that was caught by a guide's customer on Lake Fork in the last 10 years by a very famous Lake Fork guide was caught doing this. And I know because I watched them catch it from a distance. I was a ways off on another piece of structure, but I could see his boat. I could see what they were doing. It's pretty obvious when dudes are just standing there like this, holding the rod over the side of the boat, not moving it, you're a bass fishing guide. Like, if you know what to look for, it gets real obvious. But yeah, it happens. I mean, that was a fish that got turned into a share lunker program, and it was definitely caught illegally by somebody that a lot of people really, really, really adore. So I don't care. Listen, I don't care. I mean, I honestly thought it was legal when I first started doing it. Number one, another guy that was very experienced that had a very good reputation showed it to me. There is no bag or size limit on yellow bass, so I thought that was how you classified a bait fish versus game fish. Like bluegill, you can keep as many as you want. There's no bag or size limit. Shad, you can keep as many as you want. There's no bag or size limit. Yellow bass, you can keep as many as you want. There's no bag or size limit. So I thought that classified them as a bait fish, and I thought this was a legal thing. You were just using live bait. It'd be no different than catching a shad or a bluegill and put them on jigging spoon. You can do perfectly fine. No, these are bass. The yellow bass are in the bass family. It's no different than using a crappie or a largemouth or anything else. Like, it's completely illegal. So it is what it is. I was breaking the law for a while. In fact, I was so sure that that I was in the clear that I was telling my good buddy Heath Taylor about how great it worked. When days were tough, you could just go do this, always catch a couple big ones. He's a game warden. He was like, hey, you can't do that, man. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean I can't do that? I go, they're a bait fish. He goes, no, that's a game fish. Like, I had a whole argument with a game warden over this. I was so sure that what I was doing was okay. But no, it was not. And I have not done it since. I had the argument with Heath. So thank you, Heath, for setting me straight that day. But yeah, no, there's still, to this day, a bunch of guides. So, I mean, like I said, I don't care. More power to them. I'm not going to do it. It's illegal. And you know, when it comes down to it, I don't live. It's literally the only time I live bait fish. I don't ever live bait fish any other time. Why do I want to do it now? Just suck it up, take your whipping on the tough days, and get better and move on. You know, you don't like it, you don't like your results, go work harder. That's the American way, right? Used to be. For some, it still is. For a lot that don't like who the president is, it's not really that way anymore. But we'll just leave that at that. Man, good night tonight. Good night tonight. Appreciate you guys. Seeing a lot of familiar names in here. Seeing some new ones in here. I appreciate that. If you don't know me and you're in here for one of the first times, you're new to this, we will get back to doing regular stuff more often like we used to. Man, this is all about helping people catch more and bigger fish and loving our fellow man. And then every once in a while we go hit some golf balls around too. That's just been a recent thing. But we'll mix in some golf coming up here pretty soon. I've also had, man, I got to playing too much golf, guys. I was fishing too many days and playing too much golf, and my back said, bro, you're 42. You need to chill. And my back shut me down. Like, I have not swung a golf club in a few weeks now. Since y'all saw the last video, I ain't swung a golf club. The last golf video. Because my back, I hurt it bad. My hips, my back, my neck, and my back, I settled out of court for $20 and 40 ounce. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know what I'm saying, then I don't know. We didn't grow up at the same time. You didn't watch the same movies I did. Cheers, y'all. Man, it's good to be back. Don't know what to tell y'all on the schedule. I know that I'm going to try to put out that fall structure, like an in-depth video on the fall offshore structure stuff, really on kind of like how to locate them. Put that out tomorrow. And then next week, I have no idea what's coming, but I'm going to do everything in my power to get fishing videos out. I do have a family member in the hospital right now, and I do have a baby girl in there, and I've got a niece that's literally born 2 months after her that we're having to help back and forth trading babies to go visit. So we got a lot going on, man. We just got a lot going on. I know that sounds like a cop-out because I've had a lot of excuses on why the content hadn't happened over the last year, but it's just, that's my life. It's my life, man. It is what it is. So we'll do the best we can to make sure we get some content out to you guys. If nothing else, we'll go live on that next week. I'll make that promise to you, and I will keep that. If I tell you I'm going to do it, by God, I like to be able to do it. So we will do at least one live stream next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. We'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide. Dude, did I close out T.G. Shepherd? Oh, no. No music to close out. See you guys later.